Oh, there we go. Having a challenge with this green screen day. It's very interesting in that, edit, this one, chroma key, just say green, save. Whatever reason that works. All right. Thank you all for being here. My name is Anthony Barocas. I am the chief gearhead here at StreamTek, and I hope you are all ready for an, I've watched other live stream shows about live streaming, and I think this show has a whole different energy. Maybe it's just me. I don't know if you've seen other shows that have this kind of topic, preparedness, and energy for you. I see other shows and it's sort of like, it's just a question and answer. We're just going to like sit here for an hour and just blah, 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 and just talk about things. And I don't know. I think you're here for a reason. And if you are here for a reason and you have questions, put them in the comments, because this is a user-driven, a viewer-driven show. You help drive the show with your comments. So I have a topic. Obviously, I'm going to talk about the GoStream and some of the software that can control it. I have two particular things I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the Osee software and another package of software that I just saw that has a particular feature that I'm very interested in. It's very vMix-like, and we're going to talk about comparisons between those two pieces of software. They're not the only things that can control the Osee GoStream. You can control it via Companion. You can control it with a Stream Deck and things like that, all kinds of things. So I'm not going to cover the entire gamut of control. I just want to talk about these two packages today. But if you have questions about something else while we're here, you're here, I'm here, let's talk about something. Throw it into the comments. And as always, I love to know where people are watching from. I appreciate people tuning into these live shows because, hey, that's what we're here for. I gear up for these things. Was setting up last night, was setting up this morning, looking forward to it. Julio in Atlantic City, thank you very much for being there. Angus Finley says good morning. And GB Media in New York, tuning in from Jamaica at the moment. Looking forward to a great show. I appreciate you taking your time out from being in Jamaica. Then at the other end of the temperature spectrum, Angus is watching from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where it's probably nice and cool. Zippy Scooter is watching from Columbus, Mississippi, probably also hot as heck down there as well. And less hot up in Chicago, where Pete Mazphoto is watching. Thank you also to Pete for letting me know that I forgot to put the countdown timer on. I was not on last week because I was doing a live show with a TriCaster for 3 days straight. So I'm like coming back into the studio. The green screen the blue screen went to green. I had a whole bunch of things going on and I forgot the timer. Just because you can't attach a timer to a scene in the Magewell director, which is what I use to produce today's the shows. We also have Chad Booth in Johnson City, Tennessee. If I cough, I got a little thing I'm just trying to get rid of, so I apologize for that. Do I have the new GoStream 12 channel already? I do not. I don't know if I'm even considered to get one. I know there's people, developers and testers, they already have them and they're going through things. I am not a tester. I do not have one. Maybe I'll be on the review list. Maybe, I hope. It'd be really nice to check it out. But I have the Duet 8 ISO here on the table today. And I have to say, bang for the buck, it's probably one of the best prosumer switchers out there. It takes what Blackmagic does, goes in a different direction, and I think that direction that they went in is the reason that Blackmagic did absolutely nothing with their ATEM line of switchers this past NAB. Nothing. It was all about SMPTE 2110 and stereoscopic and just like all this high-end broadcast and above broadcast type productions. Leaving the market open for GoStream and others to just totally dominate this the lower end of the market. And I don't mean that in a disparaging way. It's just because not everybody needs a massively powerful and expensive switcher. Some people just need, hey, I just need to switch 4 inputs for this corporate thing or this little sports thing. And the GoStreams do a fantastic job, which is why I'm talking about them today. And, you know, if you've seen the past couple weeks, I've been talking about the Magewell Director Plus, fantastic all-in-one device. Switching, streaming, recording, inputs, NDI, titling, graphics, and everything. These are fantastic devices. But today, I am not talking about an all-in-one. I'm just talking about a switcher. Well, it can also stream and record, but it doesn't do titles. It doesn't do like graphics and things like that. So it doesn't have a sports scoreboard and things like that. And despite what Osee likes to put on their website, you cannot do remote guests on it. Even though they do say that on their website, and I wish they wouldn't. I wish they would just take that section out. But I do not have the new GoStream. If I do get one, obviously I would love to do a show on it. So if the Osee people are watching, please. Then I want that shirt. Yeah, I like the shirt. And you know what? I have not been able to wear it for a year and a half because I have been doing, I have had a partnership with Bird Dog, which just ended this month. And Bird Dog's logo is green. So I had to take my I had to cover my green screen with a blue screen, which meant I could not wear any blue shirts. So now the blue screen is gone. I have a green screen behind me and I had to like redo all the keys in my switcher. And now I can wear blue shirts again. So yay. Mr. DJ, can I request a song? Unfortunately, no. The song provided is Nimbus. And I forget the name of the band, but I think the song's name is Nimbus. And it was provided for creators by YouTube and Facebook. So that is the reason why I use that song. And I have used it for 2 years when I was working with YOLO and 2.5 years here. So over 4 years, I have used that one song and I still like it. So thank you very much to the group that put that song together because it is the, how do we say it? It is the jam. Zippy scooters. We need to talk about how lower thirds and the key them via the key button for downstream key. How the heck to get them transparent the best way? PNG. PNG is the best way. Create a 720p or a 1080p PNG file with the alpha because PNG-A is a PNG graphic with an alpha. vMix like you say. Yes, that's the cool thing. We'll get to that. I got another question come in. I need help with a custom stinger on my Director One. I'm not sure if that's a simple explanation or if it's a whole show. It would be a whole show. Stingers and building the stingers and incorporating the stingers is a whole thing. Possibly do a show on that down the road. And Kirk Riley, thank you very much for joining us from Dallas, Texas. And just up the street a little bit, Hungary. Suffolk, Hungary. Thank you very much for watching us. Oh, Janos. I bet you I know who that is. So thank you all for watching today. And I will do this is the standard plugs. Now that you're all here, let me go through and say that if you're watching this, I am using Restream to bring in all of the comments from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch. I am doing all of these channels, and I had hoped to actually do a YouTube vertical because now I can do both horizontal and vertical at the same time without it counting as an extra stream in Restream. So I'm using Restream to both produce the show, bring these graphics on, and this one's animated. Wait for it. There it is. Cool. That's built into Restream as well. So I just type in the URL and Restream makes the little QR code. If you are interested in checking it out, it's free. To try it out, you can sign up, poke around. They'll put a little watermark in the corner and stuff like that, but you can just try out the studio. They have a built-in studio, and the other really cool thing about Restream is if you want to multicast to different destinations, which is one of the reasons I'm using it, is so that I send one stream at 4 megabits and it goes to 5 destinations. I don't have to send 4 times 5 is 20 megabits, and I usually like to have double, so that would be 40 megabits bandwidth. I just send one. So that's what I use Restream for. And you don't have to use the studio like I'm using. You could just send it via RTMP and then Restream will handle the rest. So this is my affiliate link. I put this in here is, because if you sign up, I might make 50 cents. Okay, that said. Also, if you are so inclined, let me go over here. We'll do side by side. If you are watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitch, go to the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is where all the content is. Currently 308 videos, and you can come over here at any point if you wanted to find out more about NDI. Wait, I have to go get my keyboard. We're so poor here. I have one keyboard between two computers. No, I just really like this keyboard. Change who it's talking to. This is the Logitech. This is mine. And I have it talking to both my desktop and my Surface, which is what I use to run this on. So you could go in here and say NDI. I've heard about this NDI thing. What is it? How does it work and stuff like that? So you could type in NDI, and then it will give you all these videos about NDI. More NDI. Okay, don't watch the more NDI first. You could watch all in on NDI. And there's a very basic one, the basic intro. Go watch that one first. That's the first one. And then, I talk about the Duet, which now has NDI in it. NDI cameras, the comparison between NDI, SDI, and HDMI. So many eyes. And you can learn a lot about different things if you just want to learn about audio. If you were just looking for Osee switchers, OSEE. And the reason, people are telling me that my YouTube channel is absolutely wrong for becoming successful. And that's because I name every single video about the thing that I'm doing it on so that you can do that search thing. Whereas if I did, you'll never believe what happens next, or some catchy phrase that's supposed to lure you in to watch it, you wouldn't be able to search like this. So that's why I do it that way. If you like that, go to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell, do all those cool things. Thank you. But you can see all the videos that I've done on the Osee. And I did a reel that actually gets pretty good comments. And I'm going to cover this little hack today with that I did in a reel over a year ago. So that's all on the YouTube channel, but I also I write for Streaming Media Magazine, and I have done that for over 15 years. So you can find reviews of the YOLOBox Extreme, the Director Mini, and this really cool all-in-one production tablet live streaming device. It's like a breakdown of like 7 different devices that are technically all-in-ones. So 7, it's not just YOLOBox and the Director Mini, there's more out there. So I break them all down there. So you can check that out at streamingmedia.com. Just search for my name. If you need consulting, if you want one-on-one consulting, it's like, listen, I want to build this. I want to do this. How do I do this? I offer consulting. You can go to the StreamTek.us and go to contact us and try to do some consulting there. I see someone actually scanned the QR code. Thank you for that. If you want to put a big ENG broadcast camera lens onto a Micro Four Thirds or other large sensor camera, I have a group on Facebook called B4 on Micro Four Thirds, B4 on M43. I started it like 12 years ago when the GH4 came out, and that's my GH4 still camera in the shot. You can't even see the camera for the size of the lens. That's really cool. And then if you are interested in another all-in-one, we have AirMix, and AirMix is a free app for iPad that has been orphaned by Teradek, but before they decided to stop development, they unlocked all of the paid upgrades and re-released it, and it just sits there, and it's free, and it does a lot of really cool things. So I started a group for people who are interested in trying this out and want to help each other. We'll keep it on Surface. And lastly, if you want to check out some cool artwork, go to 17secondstudio.org. This is my sister's artwork she creates in Alaska. And she's got really cool things, lots of very music, lyric driven works that you can check out. You will have to like email her as to what's actually still available. I'm helping with the website, but I've been a little bit slow in updating it as to things that aren't there. To like note them as sold. So like this one right here, this Rainbow Connection, if you've seen my other videos, this is mine. She actually made this for me. Actually, she made several of them, and she was only happy with the 4th version of this, so I have the 4th version. So check those out at 17 Seconds Studio. See, and if you like something, email her or me, and we'll let you know if it's still available. So thank you for sitting through the commercial. Let's see. Angus continues. I've built stingers for vMix and ATEM switches. If I experiment with my Magewell director when it comes in. Yes, the Magewell director does handle the stingers, and they work really well, and multi-channel replay as well. Can the GoStream bring in a live video call from outside via the World Wide Web to output on video projectors in our church house? No. The simple answer is no. And this is one of the things, and I don't mean to harp on this so much, but let's go over here to laptop. If you go over here to their website and you go to their products, and here's the ISO, and you scroll down here, you would feel that would be a feature by looking at the fact that they have this invite remote guests worldwide. And see, this is what I feel. It's misleading. You can bring in an SRT feed or an RTMP feed from worldwide if you can punch the holes in the the routers and stuff like that, the firewalls. You can bring it in, but the remote guest gets nothing. They can't hear you. They can't see you. Unless they're maybe watching the YouTube, in which case they're 20 seconds behind. So you can't invite a remote guest like you would think with vMix call or something like that. Or if you have a YOLO box, they have a built-in remote guest feature where they see and hear the program without their own voice, so they don't have an echo. So you have to do the mix minus, you have to do the program return feed, and you have to get their audio coming in and be able to mix it. So there's a lot going on, and none of that is included in the Osee switchers. You can bring in an SRT. Okay, great. Now it's an input, and you will be able to adjust the audio coming in. But the remote guest has nothing. You have to build a completely separate chain on your own to be able to feed them back the program without their audio. Otherwise, they're going to hear themselves with an echo, and it's going to throw them off because they'll start talking. And that's the reason why I don't wear the headphones during the show, because I would hear my own audio a half second behind, and I can't talk and hear my own audio in my headphones. So the answer is, in general, no. I mean, you could possibly do a Zoom call and a hack to make it work, but this slide makes it feel like, oh, you could just invite remote guests and they'll come right into the switcher and you can do a remote guest conversation. You can't. So in general, the answer is no. So I hope that clarifies that. Art is always worthwhile. Yes, it is. And I'm thankful. I actually put, maybe I'll spin one of these cameras around. I put her art literally over my desk so that I could be working, typing something, and I look up and it's right there. And, sometimes I just take a moment, like I'm writing a letter, I need to think through things. And sometimes, if you are a creative, you realize that you actually need to not think about the thing that you need to think about in order for your mind to process something, and then you have an aha moment when you're not thinking about it. Like when you're in the shower, you have the great idea while you're in the shower. That's one of those things. You have to not think about it in order to think about it, if that makes any sense. So we have made it through all of the comments so far. But as always, I say this is you drive this show. And if you have any questions about the Osee, the software, or you could throw questions in at any time. I'll do my best to answer them. This is a fairly light show. And next week I will be on vacation, so I will not be here. So enjoy your week off, because I'll be enjoying my week off. All right, let's move on. So overhead, side. There it is. And as par for the course, it's already set up with a crap ton of stuff plugged into it, because that's what I do. Is I come into these shows with a lot of stuff already set up, and took a few hours yesterday, and I want to make sure that we can get into the software. So I had to pre-set up all the hardware. So you can see, I can't really hold it up, but I do have this camera. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 HDMI inputs. This is out 2, out 3, And you can see these white labels on top. Osee doesn't make these. I made a video about just using a labeler. I have a Brother P-Touch labeler. I think it's an M series. And I print these little labels out and I put them on top. And I begged Osee. I said, listen, you're already making the top plastic. It's a thing. And you're printing on it in white on this bevel. Just add more printing to the top so that we know what all of the inputs are. And that would be really great. And the new switcher's coming out with even more inputs and a slew of USBs and everything. And it would be so beneficial to end users. And it's upside down to you, but to me, this is right side up. Output 3, output 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, M2, mic 1, mic 2, USB 1, USB 2. I know that there's only one, DIN jack or Ethernet jack, RJ45. That's where I was going. And then I've got XLR1 and XLR2. And so that way I can see overhead where the XLR is going to go without having to look for it because I've got a label over top of it. And I just think, I don't know why companies don't make them user focused like that. It's like, this is great. It's 98% of the way there. Just print this on top, on this bevel that's like made for it. Rant over. But you can see, let's go back to the other camera. You can see there's power down there. There's 2 USB inputs. And then below that, you can just barely see there's a little 1/8 inch. That's the microphone inputs, mic 1 and mic 2, or XLR2, XLR1. So you can come in with XLR jacks or mini jacks, or audio comes in on every single one of the video channels as well, and the USB channel. So you can also have an external USB audio mixer and bring that in here. You do have an audio mixer. There's a whole audio mixer section here. This section right here is just for the audio mixer. Headphones, program, audio follows video, video follows audio, microphone inputs. You can adjust things. You've got effects and everything. And, the microphone inputs on here, people love to commend Blackmagic and the fact that you kind of get Fairlight light in the audio mixer. And now you can actually connect them directly to Fairlight, which is really cool. Give them kudos for that. But there's audio capabilities in this one too, including equalization and compression and things like that. So you can really hone down your audio in the Osee switchers, and I really commend them on that. And then over here is a special thing, which I'm going to get to in a minute, where I did this hack where on the 4 input, I says, listen, if you have a picture in a picture in a box, actually, let me just go to it. Let's go to super source. That's not right. Why is that not switching? Okay, I don't know what that is. Okay, so there's my multi-source, right? And in the top right window there's my multi-source. And over there, oh, output 2, that's why. Output 2 is program. There we go. There we go. Output 2 is here's me, and then that's live. And then over there is a video. It could be a PowerPoint, could be anything else, So here's the person talking about the PowerPoint. Okay. And now let's just say I wanted to switch whatever that is. I could switch that thing that's in that window live. And I'm doing that on this switcher. I don't need a second switcher to switch it like I do in my office, because on my setup, what I have is I have the director, and then the director has me and box, and then I have a separate switcher switching what's in the box. The cheat is to take one of your outputs from this switcher and feed it back into an input. So what I did was, there's 3 outputs on this device. I took the first output. First output is SDI. The second output is HDMI. The third output is HDMI, but it's on this model, it's set to multi-view. So I can only switch what happens on 2 and 1. And what I did was I took output 1, which is SDI, and I looped it right back into input 8. So now I say output 1, and I use the output switch to be my aux bus. And I can switch what that what's in that box by just switching it right here. I'm not using my preview bus. I'm not using my program bus. I'm using my output bus. And you can switch output 1 and output 2. Output 1, output 2. You can't switch output 3. Like I said on this model, it's just multi-view. But you can take output 1 or output 2 if you wanted. It's up to you. If you have a bunch of SDI cameras and you have a free HDMI, you can then use output 2 and just loop it around and then switch output 2. I don't have a lot of SDI sources today, so I'm using output 1, which is SDI, and just literally looping it over to the next jack. And you can see that's the whole cable right there. Could have used a shorter one, but I don't have that one that short. And that way I could just switch what's in there. And yeah, let's go to side by side with the multi-view. And so you can see, let's just say I want to put input 6 over there. So I just type in input 6, and 6 goes into that box. If I want to put the input 8 in there, I hit input 8, and input 8 goes in the box. Why is 6? Oh, 6 and 8 are actually my Bird Dog P200. And one of them is NDI. The other one is SDI. I'm going to guess, oh, 8 is now cycling again. So let's go back to 6. Okay, I get it. There we go. So that would be video playback. It's not set to autoplay. But then I can go back to input 2, and it could be PowerPoint. And that way I have this area over here that's set to just switch what's in the box, and I'm not using up this. On the Duet 4, or just the Duet with the SDIs on the side, you have to choose between HDMI or SDI. On the 8, you can use both. So what I did was I actually took the USB out and brought the USB in. And then I said the USB out is preview, and the USB in goes into the box. So then if I have my camera on 1 and my slide on 5, I then have 3 other inputs that I could switch what's in the slide. So you're kind of limited on the 4 input version. You got a lot more flexibility on the 8 input version, but remember you also got media players over here, so you actually have like more things going on. So that's my hack, and I think that can help a lot of people who need to do multi-layered switching, picture-in-picture switching. And how do I do that with just one device? Well, when you've got an aux output like this, that gives you the flexibility to just jack it right back in as a source, and now you've got that other switcher has come up here, and now you can switch what that is. You could you could set the output of this to be preview. Okay, so now output 1 is preview, and now I can use the preview bus, and that's that could be easier for people, especially if they got it labeled across the bottom or something like that. So it could be 2. Let's go to the program. 2, 3, 4. Sorry about that. I got a key on there. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I could just easily switch between the big buttons, and you can see it's actually seamless switching. There's no glitching going on because the switcher is retiming all of these inputs as they come in. So within the switcher, they're all retimed. So when I do this switch in the switcher with the retimed signals, I get this nice seamless switching between these different inputs, and I don't have to worry about it. Now, if you are using, see, I was just doing this, going between the different switches, because here I said the source for output 1 is preview. So whatever I switch in preview is going to go out output 1 and fed back into 8. Or I could just manually switch them up here, and now I can continue to use preview for something else. If you're in the multi-view view, you've got the preview window down there at the bottom, so you can set up, a downstream key or whatever you want downstream key to. Well, I'm using that as a background. You can set up your keys and look at them on preview before you bring them to air. So if you're using the preview, then there's still a way around that through the aux output. So that is really cool. And you can see one of the things I love about the Osee switchers is, if we go like this, the fact that there's a menu in the switcher itself. You don't need a computer to go in, change your sources. Like right there, the last thing I was doing was I was changing my source map. So I got HDMI 1, 2, 3, 4, player 1, NDI 1, USB webcam on input 7. So that way I can look at my webcam, which is on input 7. Let's go over to 7. There's my webcam, which is very weird. I don't know. This is an what do you call it? OBSBot tiny. But if I bring something white in the shot, the color balance will correct. If I move something white out of the shot, it will wonkily go somewhere else because it gets thrown off by the green, I guess. But it's really fast. Ready? Color correct. Not color correct. Color correct. Go figure. And but this one, let's see, I'm over here. Now I'm out of the shot. And then I could say, track me. Track me. It's not going to listen to me now. Track me. Fine. Will it listen if I say, zoom in closer? Nope, it's just not listening today. Track me. There we go. All right, so now I can move over here. I can move over here. I can move way over here, and it's tracking me. So you can have webcams plugged directly into the switcher coming in the USB input. You've got 2 of them that you can use for cameras and be able to use effects like this. Although, you know, again, the white balance, I don't get why it keeps doing that. If you figured this out, and I have white teeth, see, and then if I put my hand out, why? I don't get it. So then I can say, unlock me. Unlock me. Okay, it's going to keep tracking me for a while. Unlock me. Unlock me. All right. It's got a LED light on the front, and when it hears the command and does it, the light blinks and it changes, and it's not doing it. So if I come up here, you'll see my overhead camera. If I come down here, oh, look at that. As soon as I got past the green, it looked like the white balance fixed itself. Oh, well, guess not. So, unlock me. Nope, just not going to do it. So, voice and gesture control always makes me wonder just why. I've had to turn off gesture controls on these things because I use my hands a lot, and next thing you know, they're tracking, they're not tracking, they're zooming in, they're zooming out. So hand gestures off. I left the voice controls on this one, and I put little labels on there, like on the switcher, just so I could remember what the actual commands are. But as we can see, the voice commands don't seem to be as reliable as one would love them to be. Green is off, blue is on. Track me. I'm already tracking. Unlock me. Nope, still not doing it. So it's a very difficult thing to navigate. So let's go back to this thing. The on-screen menu really does make this thing, because you could be in the heat of a show and you need to make a change and you don't have like a spare laptop or computer to go into this thing and bring up the menu. Although today's show is about 2 pieces of software that require a laptop or a computer connected over the local area network. But the on-screen menu is so nice to have, and it really does make things easier. Like, you know, you control it via, whoops, gotta go to the wider view, this area right here, menu and this button. So you menu in, and then you select with the knob by pushing down on the knob, and then you hit the menu to back up, which is kind of interesting. You hit the menu to get in, but then you hit the menu to get out. I didn't make the interface. So let's go back to here and bring up the multi-view so you can see that. And that takes over 2 slots in the multi-view. So if I get rid of the menu, you'll see my media player 1 and the audio mixer and various statistics. So the players, as the players are playing, you'll see them. Can I play something? Yeah. So there you see a progress bar on the player. You know, so that's really cool if you're recording, and the SD card and the timers and the streams 1, 2, and 3. You can see those there. So it gives you lots of information in this little corner window here. That's awesome. Love it. You know, the Blackmagic does kind of the same in multiple blocks. They kind of cram it into one, so they give you more blocks for the multi-view. And I'll hit play again, or if I just hit stop. play. I hit pause, so it's just going to stop there for a second. And now when I hit the menu, it takes over those 2 blocks. And now you can see I could scroll this up to the color for the background, my multi-source setup, and if I go into there, there's a template, window 1, window 2, window 3, window 4. And one of the things that I love is you've got these multi-sources, you know, super sources, multi-views, pictures in pictures, you know, things like that. This is cool that these switchers have this capability to do 4 across over a background. That's pretty damn slick. But navigating that in this interface is a pain in the ass. Let's see if YouTube flags me for that. Yes, it's nice to have this here, but if you're going to really build some multi-views, you're going to want to do that on the computer. Way easier. Easier to see, easier to navigate than doing it through here. So let's get back up here. We're going to close that. Your keys are in here, different types of keys. Your picture-in-picture, technically I wouldn't put a key, I'd put it in a multi-source, but that's where they put it. Your downstream key 1, what is your source, your mask, your key control, size and position. Downstream key 2, source, mask, position. Your transition, mix, dip, wipe. And I love the fact that these switchers, all of them, have cut and auto. And it really gets me that the all-in-one switchers and software like Switcher Studio or things like that, they don't feel that you need to have this capability. And I feel this capability is so critical for doing shows in that if I'm switching cameras, I just want to punch cameras. I'm just punching cameras back and forth. 2 people talking, 2 people talking, 2 people talking. Great. Now we're going to go to video. So I'm going to line up the video, but then I want to, you know, mix auto, and I have it set to like a half-second fade. I want to fade to the video. I want that to be more gentle than just cutting to it. And then when the video is done, I want to fade. I want to auto back out like that. Auto in, boop, auto out, boop. And then, you know, I just want to cut between my cameras. Having those there without having to really think about it makes a show look really good, in my opinion. And I would love to see the director, the ObsBot talent, and YOLO Box, all those all-in-one tools. I would love to see them really adopt both of these, not just cut. And then, you know, if you want to change the cut to a fade, you got to go into a menu, you got to select the fade, and then you got to go over here and da-da-da-da. No, just give me 2 buttons. Why is that so hard? If there's a cut button, give me 2 buttons. And I will say the director and the talents do kind of, they have a preview program mode, but if you've seen my director video, you know that I feel they have it set up 100% backwards. And they do give you a cut and auto button, but it needs to be really tweaked to make more to make it more intuitive, especially in terms of what you're seeing on the big screen. A couple questions have come in. Oh, good to see Al here. Good to see you at the California School for Employees Association conference. AV setup here is great. Very nice. Never forget to turn off the image mirroring on your camera. Well, I've got mirroring going both ways on this camera. What brand of camera are you using for the webcam? It is the Osee. This is the ObsBot Tiny 2. This is the Tiny 2 that will not listen to me today. Unlock me. There we go. Now it listened. Maybe it just needs a bigger gap of time. It's a user problem. In general, those are really good. It just seems that the green screen tends to throw it off unless there's a white dot. So unless I put like a white sticker on my shirt, it's going to be like, I don't know what white is. I have the 4-input Osee switcher. Clicking one of the knobs reboots the switcher. I reached out to support about it. They don't seem to be too worried about it. No, that would definitely, if it's still under warranty, definitely work with them or your reseller to get that mitigated. But it should not do that. They're very reliable switchers. Yes, they are great little switchers otherwise. Now, we talked about your outputs. We've talked about the audio mixer a little bit. You got your macros here. Macro is where you can save a series of things. Like if you have a show open and it's like, I'm going to be in my graphic and then I want to play the video and then go to camera 1, activate the audio, and you want to do all these things and you want to make them reliable. You can record these as a macro. And a macro is sort of just like a function recorder. You can even use the macro, and I will admit that I don't. You can even use the macro to go, like just say you want to have a green screen and you want to cut between 4 different cameras and you have a virtual set. Let me just go here. Let's just say you have a virtual set and you have 1, 2, 3, and a wide shot, and you have 4 different backgrounds. What you don't have in the Duet is you don't have 4 different still stores to put 4 different backgrounds between 4 different keyed cameras in a green space. But you do have macros. And with the macro, one of the things you can do is you can sit there and say, oh, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be my macroed cameras. And part of that macro is, you know, you hit 1 and you hit record. Now, go into my still store for camera 1, you know, because it's macro 1. Go into my still store, load this background into media player 1. Then go into my layering, put this camera 1 over media player 1, then cut to it. So very fast, it's doing a background swap and then putting the camera over it, camera 1. And then you cut to camera 2. Okay, camera 2, go to the media player 1, swap the background for this background, then put camera 2 over it, then cut to camera 2. So you see what I'm saying is that it lets you do things that would normally take a lot of just poking around in the menu. But once you do it, the computer can do it, you know, in the time span of a frame or two, 30 milliseconds. And it's just goes, you know, swaps it out, and then you got a background. Swaps it out, and you got a background. Swaps it out. So when you click on this one, it's got that background. You click on this one, it's got this background. You click on this one, it's got that background. Even though you don't have 3 different media players to handle 3 different backgrounds. That's really cool. That's what the macros could do. And then over here on the right, you've got your player for your videos, your recording ISOs up here, and all your keys. Now, it gets kind of convoluted. Yes, you have buttons for things, but it would be so much nicer if there was software that would make this easier. And of course there is. So let us go over here again and hide that for a moment. And Osee makes this software. So this is the software. It's talking to the switcher. So as I push inputs on the switcher, you can see that it's it's reflected on the software. Or I can push buttons on the software and it's reflected on the switcher. I can preview program. Here's my keys, my downstream keys. Turn this one on, turn this one off, or put it on the air. That's program. So this is, I can see it on preview. This is on program. Transitions rate, fade to black rate. You can see my transitions here, my player 1 where I stopped it. I can start it from here again. Here's my recording. Down at the bottom, my 3 destinations. And then over here is where you can get into some of the things in depth that are harder to do with the on-screen menu. Particularly your multi-source. Well, first I want to load a template. And then once you load a template, you want to adjust the windows. You want to enable, I don't know why it's zipping so fast. Let me drag this by itself. So you can enable 1, 2, 3, or 4. You can go in and tweak these things. What is the source for that? What is the X position, the size, the cropping of the different parts of the window, your border, what color, how thick, and everything. And then you can even put a little corner radius on it and stuff like that. So you've got that for window 1. And then you go to whatever you've got in window 2. And then you come down here I wish the scroll bar would just stay there and not keep just disappearing after a second, because then you don't think it can scroll. You could do all that for input too. And then of course there's the graphics. So what do you want as a graphic? Come on. So what is the source for the graphic? Place it in the background or the foreground. So if you wanted to have something in front, like, you know, a big banner with 4 cutouts, you can have that in front. Or if you're just going to like put a color in the background, so your source can be, well, apparently that's not going to show up right now, but your source can be one of those things. And then you can go into your keyers, all the keying thing that you saw, your downstream key, auto switching, videos follows audio, and then your settings, which audio source for audio A, audio B, what is the threshold to make it cut, and then what does it do when those things happen. So that's a new feature that a lot of these things are getting, is that you can have different microphones come in. Now, there's only 2 microphone inputs on this device. Those 2 microphone inputs can be either the 1/8 inch or the 1/4 inch. You can't get all 4. You can't use 2 XLRs and 2 minis to get 4 inputs. You can't do that. But you can bring your audio inputs with the cameras and then mix that in there and then say, when I hear the microphone coming in camera 1, switch to camera 1. When the microphone for plug it into camera 2 is on, cut to camera 2. Super easy. Now down the bottom here, we'll jump into the mixer. Very nice mixer. Again, this is the GoStream software. It comes for free from GoStream. Very nice mixer. You can see I've got audio playing into this device. I've got the audio up a little higher on, what is that, 2? And then down the bottom, we've got preamps on the mic, delay. So if you're bringing in analog audio, it's got to be delayed to match the video, which is going to be delayed a frame or so, so the switcher can sync it all up. Panning left or right. You've got various effects, like I was talking about. Mono to stereo, very critical, because if you're just going to bring something in channel 1, you don't want it just to be on the left side. You want it to be on both channels. And that's also available on all of the other inputs as well. So if you take a Rode microphone and you've got the stereo output and you've only got 1 microphone on and you plug it into your camera, it's only going to come in on the left, unless you like change it on the thing. But if it's only coming on the left, it's like one little toggle down the bottom, and then you just like, boop, you know, now, there, it's fixed. You know, it's super easy to fix. And then down here, you can link your audio. And they, like I said, they have effects, so you can go into your effects and compression, equalization, and things like that. Very cool. Headphone levels out here. You've got your media. So the Osee is kind of weird in that you have to load all your stills into a folder, a special folder on the SD card, and then when they're in the folder, then you can load them over there into the specific, so you have to load them into a pocket before you can load them into the graphics buffers. And then from the graphics buffers, you can select what of all of the stills are particularly loaded in there and available to you. And then over here, this is your multi-view, how to sort out your multi-view, what the sources are, what the names are, and things like that, so you can rearrange things as you see fit. As you can see, that bottom right one is not available to you because that's the status for everything. Now, this is, as I said, this is the free software. Very powerful, very cool. In fact, the naming of your multi-views is only available in this software. It's not actually available in the menu system, which I think they could probably fix with an update, but it's not currently available in the software or in the menu of the switcher itself. So if you're in here and you go into the menu, there's no place where you can change the labels on the multi-view. So even on the outputs, your HDMI format, audio map, video map, that's basically it. Your inputs, you're going to be deep in here in your input mode. The nice thing here is you got the ability to do your HDMIs and SDIs or stream or player. And this actually brings up another point. Macros is how you can sit there and say you can have something coming in SDI and a video player. But player 1 and SDI 1 both share that input. in the mode that I have. So input 5 right now is shared SDI 1 and player 1. But let's just say I need both. You can use a macro. You hit macro 5 and it'll toggle what SDI 1 and player, it'll toggle what, I lost my finger. It'll toggle what goes into 5. Same thing with, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can use macros to switch between A and B on that particular input. And I've long said that I would love to see I would love to see, don't even, just let me hit this button twice. Now it's the other thing. Now it's the other thing. Now it's the other thing. That just makes it so much easier than having to program a macro to just double tap on the preview bus. And people are like, well, how would you know that you're on the right thing? I'm like, that's what the multi-view is for. So I'm going to need the multi-view anyway to see all my inputs. So just being able to look at input 5, and right now it's the player and it's playing, be able to tap multi-view, tap that twice, and now it'll be the SDI input. That would be great. And some of these have 3 inputs. Let's go back into that. SDI 3, stream input 3, and the stream input can be changed. Okay? So, input 7, if we come up here, I think it's this one. No, that's output streams. Where is it? Nope. I thought it was there. No, that's my outputs. Not my scenes, not my playback. Oh, not in settings. This is why you put it in a macro. Stream, no, not scene, it's not a macro, it's not a media player, it's not an audio mixer, it's not auto switching, it's not transition. It's not my multi-source. It's not my key. Literally right now, I can't think of where I would switch my NDI input. Throw it in the comments if you figured it out. Because this is just it's not a recording setting. It's not a playback setting. It's not a stream setting. We're just in there. It's not a scene setting. It's not a macro. It's not my media player. It's not the audio mixer. It's not auto switching. It's not transitions. And the funny thing is, I did this before the show, and now it's for the life of me, I can't think of where it would be. Nope. Record. Nope. Playback. Nope. Nope. No idea. I can't think of where I would select the stream input settings. This is the output streams. So throw it in the comments if you figured it out. Right now, I want to show it to you, but for the life of me, I can't find it. And this is why I said the macro. Audio mixer, no. Auto switching, no. Transition, no. Downstream key, multi-source. Am I missing something? I am missing something. All right, let's do some talk about macro. I talked about macro a little bit. I'll update the firmware. It's been a little bit, okay? What are the correct settings to eliminate frame drops and shuddering on the HDMI, SDI, and NDI inputs? We have the Netgear Nighthawk, Osee Tail 2s on 5 gigahertz, etc. Best bitrate and frame per settings. It's really dependent upon your network. Let me take that out. First, if you're having Netgear and you're coming in HDMI, then the Netgear wireless is not having any issue to do with HDMI and SDI. If you're getting frame drops and shuddering on HDMI and SDI, you've got a switcher problem. If you have problems with NDI, that's a network issue specifically because it comes in over the network. And not all networks are created equal. First thing I would do is I would, try a different switch. I would use a switch to connect the NDI. Now, if you are on 5 gigahertz, I don't know how many tail 2s you have, best bit rate. I've done multiple bit rates on my switcher, but as I've said, let me go get it. People have had success with Netgear routers because Netgear is a networking company. I use this one. This is an Asus Republic of Gamers ROG router. It's got a 2.5 gigabit LAN and WAN, and it's designed to move data fast. And I have hooked up multiple 4K cameras to this and not had a problem. On the other hand, I have hooked up multiple 4K cameras to my Eero Pro 6, which is Pro, and I get 2 HD NDI cameras going through my Eero, and I will get stuttering. So not all routers, not all networks are created equal. And there isn't an NDI specification that routers can get and acquire and sit there and say, we are NDI capable for 4 cameras. We are NDI capable for 8 cameras. We are NDI certified for, this much. There's no certification that they can get at this point. It would be really good if there was, because that would really help people who are using networking, but they're not IT professionals. And we just need a device I can put on the table that will handle things. Unfortunately, there is no magic bullet. Oh, if you use 32 megabits at 30 frames a second, it'll always work. No, that does not exist. And anybody who says they have the solution does not. Angus jumped in on that. NDI and Wi-Fi is always challenging. Lower the bit rate, the easier it will be to get it to work, but it'll hurt your video quality. Yeah, in general, the lower the bit rate, the easier it should be for the router to handle it. However, as I've said with mine, even in HD, I still have issues because many routers, I'm not saying all, but a good portion, say 30% of routers are designed to pass data, as in packetized data. I'm downloading a web page, I'm printing something, and the timing between the packets is not measured. They don't care. When you're doing video, the timing between the packets is the most important thing. Every single packet has to arrive in order, in a row, reliably, from 5 cameras for hours. And not all routers are designed to do that. And that's a problem for people who are trying to rely on them for real-time live video. I'm glad to see I'm not the only one who gets lost in the Osee menus. No, you're supposed to say main menu inputs. Okay, let's go back. He says, CP Scooter says, main menu inputs. All right, let's go. I'm happy to admit when I don't know. I will tell you I don't know because I'm not AI. I'm not going to lie to you. NDI. No. Okay, so do input mode. So this is where you can source map. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Zippy Scooter. Yay. Kudos to you. If I could reverse send you a couple dollars through YouTube, I would do that right now. So thank you. But just, you have my appreciation. So input source map. So here is where you can come in here and say, oh, for input 5, I want the player. Let's come over here, come all the way down, click on this, and now I can switch to SRT. Well, wait, SRT, NDI, SDI. So you can see I can scroll through when I'm saying that it goes to your IP input. I have SDI, but there are multiple IP inputs. You know, I can go SDI or NDI. And in particular, this is NDI 0, because down here in NDI, you get to pick what camera that is. So you can actually have multiple NDI cameras and then through a macro, go into the NDI, switch 0 between this camera and that camera, and then come up here in input 5, switch it to NDI. So you could have lots of things connected to this switcher at the same time and access all of them through macros. So NDI 0 or SRT Listener 1 or SRT Caller 1 or RTMP Pool 1 or Player 1. That's one input. Could be all of those different things. And that is something I feel, you know, if there was a way to make that easier to toggle through those things, and that's why I was saying if you could see all the inputs and then just double tap and I see it. Plump, plump, plump. Okay, cut. I think that just gets me there so much faster than having to program a macro to go do all those things. If I don't have to do a macro and I can just double tap on the bottom row here, I would love to see that. Wolfgang, sorry, I just got here. Happy about this update for my Osee. I'm not talking about the Osee update. I'm talking about software. And we looked at the Osee software. I think I have a sneeze coming. Yay. We talked about the Osee the GoStream software. This is the software from Osee itself. Very capable, very good, very handy, and free. But I just saw posted in the Osee group software that is not free, but I think is worth it. So I'm going to take this away. And this one is VU GoStream Controller. So interface, very different. Also modular. So if you have multiple screens, you know, when I come over here and I want to bring up the web panel, that comes up in a somewhere else. And if I want to do macros, that comes up in another window. And you can see I'm just recording, and then I could loop it, and there it is. If I want to do my multi-sources, this is what I was talking about. Like, doing your multi-source building is really hard when you can't see the design. And here, this software says, let me show it to you. Now, I would really love if it could pull the live sources and show them to me, especially the background. Because right now, background is Media Player 2. But I would love to see it, especially if you have a background or a foreground with text or something like that. Being able to see it would be good. So, hey, if you think this is pretty cool, we can actually email and communicate with the developer who is actively working on this. And the software is available for sale. It's just 25 bucks, which I think is a steal, like just for this feature. But it gets better. It gets better. Just for this feature, I think this is a steal. Because if you build multi-views, vMix, Wirecast, TriCast, or anything like this, having this visually shown to you, look, I could toggle my inputs on right there. I could like move them around. I could drag them. I could just drag this thing around. I could do, you want to, you know, border, boop, 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 boop. You know, there's my color down the bottom. Super easy. There's a reset button on all these things. Oh, you know, that is worth it right there. And I reached out to the developer. I said, hey, listen, I was going to talk about the Osee today anyway. And I was going to talk about the software and things like that. And then I saw this. I was like, okay, this really makes it worth it talking about this show. And I said, listen, I like your software, but if I could give a discount to viewers of the show, and he says, okay. So it's $25 for the software. And he said he can set us up. Oh, you know what? I forgot, did I update the link? Let me just double check this. Oh, that is just the link to the page. And let me type this in here. Give me a second. Give me a second. My apologies. I thought I had done this last night. I did not actually do it properly. And StreamTek 12. Where'd my keyboard go? You type in StreamTek 12 and you will get, there we go. I am changing the thing. StreamTek 12 is the discount code. So on the order page, it says discount code. Type in StreamTek 12. It'll take $12 off, which is basically a nearly 50% discount on the software. So I think that's really cool. So you want to check that out, go there. And the discount code is StreamTek 12. I apologize for not having that done. I can't do everything. I missed something. I try. Throw it out there. Let me show you some more of the software, and I'll throw that up again later. Or you can scroll back. So this is really cool, and I just digging this. But the thing that got me, the thing that really got me, is the fact that the software enables you, and people have been doing this other ways too, but it's built into the software along with the building, and it's complete. And it has this other really cool feature, which I said is vMix-like. And if you've ever seen or used vMix, vMix has this ability to merge and do an automatic transition between multi-views. And so does this software, which is why I wanted to highlight it today. I don't get anything. There's no affiliate link. There's no payback for this. He didn't ask me to do this. I bugged him. So this is just for you, not for me. So let me close this, and you can open up the multi-source animations. So what you do is you build 2 multi-sources or more. You can have 10 of them and just use them as needed and things like that. And then you're able to switch between them. So let me go to my multi-view, and then if I go to if we go to my multi-source, there we go. There's my multi-source. And now I've got my 1 and 2. Let's just say the guy talking is a PowerPoint, okay? The big one. There's me, I'm the presenter, and there's the multi-view guy talking, PowerPoint. Pretend it's a PowerPoint. I don't have a PowerPoint thing. And then I want to go to the next one. I just tap it on the screen. Ta-da! Now all of a sudden I'm getting animated multi-view transitions. Maybe I'm the only one who is excited by this, but I think it's exciting. I think it's really cool to see a hardware switcher do this. That's not like a $20,000 Ross or something like that. So there you go. So now I'm the presenter, I'm talking, and you could maybe see a little bit of that, it's just an example. And I'm talking, and then I tap the button. And now let's look at the graphics for today. The fourth quarter was really awesome. And as you can, I should be over here. The fourth quarter was really awesome, as you can see by our chart over here, blah, blah, blah. And then I can also then just cut back to me, and then back to just the slides, and then back to the multi-view. Because me, slides, multi-view. Now, what I'm doing, switching between the multi-views, that's happening in the software. I'm just literally tapping this. I'm tapping this. Now, up here, it's got a red box around the multi-source. Hey, note to the developer, if you're watching, I'd love to see a red box around the active multi-source. If one of those 2 is active, I would love to see a red box around that. So I know that I'm on this one, because I looked away, and now I look back, and now I don't know. So feature update, feature request. I actually sent him a feature request this morning. But anyway, that's a feature request from me. And if you've got them, throw them in. But that right there, all of a sudden makes this hardware switcher. Like I can switch 1, input 2, go to the multi-source. I don't remember which one was active. Let's go to that one. And that I think really does make this pay off. Now, there are, that's not the be all and end all of it, because you can also bring up the audio mixer. And like I said, these are modular. So I can move this over to another window and it stays up. Whereas on the Osee software, you're either switching or you have the audio mixer up, not both. This one, it's modular. Look, this is a window and this is a window. I can have this window and ooh, I can make it full screen. I can move it over to another screen. So if I've got multiple screens around me, I got my mixer over here, I got my multi-views over here, I got my main mix over here, I got different things, and I got my nice like aircraft heads-up display all around me. And again, like I says, if this interests you, then zoop, you can go check it out. It's just 25 bucks, which I think is a steal for the multi-source building, but then the fact that in addition to once you build them, you can now animate them. I think that makes it worth it, because now let's go to program. There's this, and now I can go, zoop. Hey, this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the fourth quarter. It's super awesome, and let's get right to the statistics. As you can see here on our chart, the graph, we did fantastic in the fourth quarter. We're looking at a great first quarter next year. It's going to be super awesome. And then you want to come back to me, and then zoop back to me. Oh, this is super cool. Oh, this is super cool. Anyway, take this off. And I'm going to feel like a commercial. I'm going to say, but wait, there's more. Let's go back to the laptop. Now, the laptop has this cool thing where you have a QR code. A QR code? I mean, I sound like an ad at this point. So I'm going to take my phone, which is hooked up so you can see what's going to be on the screen. And I'm going to bring the camera up. Hello. And then I'm going to scan it. I'm going to type in my password because it went to sleep. Okay. Now, phone. I mean, it's not do I have a phone set up here? Nope. That'll work. Anyway, so that is talking to... He's got this web interface for VU stream control to talk to the switcher. And one of those things is that multi-source animation. So now I've got a dedicated control surface with those two animations. I tap the left one. Well, look at that. It actually stays highlighted. I would love it if it stayed highlighted. Developer. Switch to this one. And then is that working? Let's see. Well, it does a weird view. Let's just do this one. All right, ready? And there's that one. Tap it. There we go. Tap it. Zoop. And then I tap it. Zoop. So I'm doing that with this. Now you got a dedicated control surface just for your multi-views. I was just like, that's cool. I love cool things. I love to support cool things. And I love it that there's people out there developing cool things for switchers that are already really cool. So it makes a thing that's cool even cooler. And that's not the only thing that this does. Let's go back to phone. You got the multi-source animation, you got your macros. So if you got a bunch of macros, and while the switcher shows you 10 macros, right here. It's not limited to 10 macros. There's banks of macros. So there's a lot more. You can have a lot of stuff stored in the switcher itself. And then over here, you've got your macros, you got your player controls, tally. I don't really know how you would use that, but somebody can figure that one out. And then you've got the switcher control. So here's your switcher. So I can switch the inputs on the switcher just like that. It was in multi-view. Now it's input 1, input here, over there. That's really cool. Now, another feature the feature I had actually requested this morning is to have that top piece over there, those inputs, as well as go back, come down, go to multi-source, as well as my multi-source. So like put the main inputs at the top. Like up here, I would just have my main inputs and then a line, and then all of my scrollable multi-source animations so that I can still, I'm in this, but now that I want to cut back to just the speaker talking, you know, I had the multi-view up, but now I want to cut back to him. In this interface, I have to jump back to the other thing, whereas it would be cool if I just had the main inputs at the top. So that was actually my feature request this morning. We'll see if it happens. A couple questions come in. Oh, wow, a bunch of stuff. Oh, wait, Osee talks. Disable tap won't work, but push and hold would. Double tap won't work, but push and hold would. I think double tap is better because you don't have to then have a dwell. You don't have to, because somebody could put their finger on it and be holding it and it's switching. I think double tap is more of a deliberate tap, tap. I want to switch, tap, tap, rather than push and hold, push and hold. Hey, you know, if I need to cycle three things, I can double tap really fast. Just drop SuperSource in the preview and adjust it by eye. Yes, you could do that too, but it's not a 14-inch screen, or if you're doing it on a computer, 24-inch screen, and really letting you get all that stuff in there. Dump it into the preview, and especially if you're trying to do this stuff during the show. Blackmagic ATEM panels use double tap for a bunch of different features. In general, shift plus button is the same as double tapping. Shift would be great, but there's no shift on this switcher. There is another switcher that had a shift. I think the new 12, the new Omni 12 has a shift button, and I don't know how they're fully implementing it. I don't have it, haven't tested it, haven't touched it. But there's no shift on the existing switchers, but they can update for a double tap. I think that would be the best of all things. The unused small F2 button could be used as a function button. That's actually very true. In firmware to update, make that double click feature work. Well, then at that point, you don't even need double click because you're holding function 2. If you're holding function 2 and then hitting something on the preview bar, that's a shift. And that would definitely work, you know. So what he's saying is right here, there's a function 2 button that's not, boom. Oh, look, it's now yellow. What does something? I don't know what it does. I've never did that before. If I use function 1, okay, function 2, does something. I don't know what it does. It's up to you now. You got to figure out what it does. Wolfgang says, this software is really good. Seems like it will make a smooth workflow. I think not so much a smooth workflow, because many of the functions in terms of building a macro and things like that are the same as the free software from Osee. The software from Osee is very capable. And let me open that back up again too. The software from Osee is very capable. It's a single window. So if you wanted to have the functionality to have the audio and switching open at the same time, you can't do that here. I mean, yes, yeah, oh, but you can open it on a thing. Right here, you can't do both. I do like this audio mixer. There's a lot more functionality down here in terms of like panning and effects, mono to stereo, just all those things. And then you see the audio follows video and things like that. Very, very cool. Over here, that's not reacting to me, is it? No. Okay. I think this one is definitely a more visually capable mixer in terms of what you can see and what you can do than the other one. But in terms of stills and then your general controls for your multi-view, they're going to kind of be the same. And your switching, they're going to kind of be the same. But then when you're building your multi-source, here's your template. Okay, you pick a template. I don't know why these things aren't showing up. You know, you can enable, and then I've got this weird thing where it just decides to scroll a bazillion miles an hour. It's like it didn't realize that it's open and it thinks it's still closed, so it's like zipping all the way through. Let me go up here to the top. Let me go all the way to the bottom. But here, I can't see what the windows look like. So if I'm building a multi-source here, like he says, you could put it into the preview window, or I could just close this. I could just build a multi-source with this tool. I think this is like worth the 25 bucks right here. But then to also be able to say, build these things, you save them as a preset. And what I did was I created these 2 presets right here, put them in a folder, and then hide that. I drag those 2 presets into here. And now I can just tap these 2 buttons. I can go in there and change those presets, resave them, put them back in, update them and things like that. Those 2 presets are now animatable in a very visually easy way to understand and handle. And then I can put them on my phone. I mean, I think that's just really, really cool. I do similar movements on the TriCaster TC1 with the ME bus. It does give a good visual. It gives polish. And anybody who's watching TV, which is like everybody, is watching, sports programs and stuff is always moving in and flying and wiping and coming in and pushing and sliding, and people expect that these days. And if you're just like cutting to a graphic and cutting away and cutting to a 2-shot and cutting away, it makes your program feel less. And I feel that if you're able to, have a program, let's go to my super source. If you're able to do this, and then, is it still open? Can I still do it on my phone? Let's try it. And if you're able to sit here and just do a move, that really does lend itself to having a little bit more polish in the show. And then I could use this, or I could just do it right here. I can bring up my keys. Maybe not that key. Well, maybe not that. I don't know why that's... I had a better... Nope, not that. I replaced all of those with backgrounds. Why did I do that? I had an overlay on the bottom. But you could have overlays on the bottom and still be able to transition between these macros. And I think that being able to do this, I do this in vMix all the time because it really does deliver a polish that lets you go in there and just say, cool, look at that, look at this. I'm going to slide that over and slide that back. And, I've seen people where they take the show and then they build another one where they shrink the show and they've got like a ticker on the bottom. It's like, oh, this is news just in. And they push the show out of the way and they come back out. And that just makes it look like, it's all figured out. We know what we're doing. And we're just super awesome at producers. And I think that is what made me sit there and say, I want to highlight this on the show today, because I think having that capability, and then when I came into here and I was building the multi-sources, I was like, oh my goodness, this is just so much better than trying to do it the other way. This is honestly kind of vMix-like. So even if you weren't in vMix, this is kind of vMix-like. It's not as easy as, say, a YOLO box in terms of building things, but just being able to select a box and say, I want the border to be that color. Okay. And I want it to be a little thicker, and I want the corner radius to be a little bit more, and done, And I see it, and I sit there and say, you know what? I didn't like that. Let's go back to yellow. Okay. Now it's the wrong color yellow. Now, here you go. Here's another feature request. A color picker. I want a color picker. So I can go over to this yellow and suck the color up from that one so I can match it. Or being able to go over to this color and get the hex key, the hex for the color, so that I could copy the hex from one color and put it onto the other color. Feature request. Hey, 3 feature requests in one show. Not bad. And so you can see my 2 yellows don't match anymore. And that's my fault. Let's see if I tap it over here a little bit. Try that. No, that's still not it. All right. So that is the software I wanted to show you guys today. I think it is definitely worth 25 bucks. And if you wanted to try it out, he's got a 48% discount. Actually, it's free. But if you wanted to buy the freemium version of it, it's $12. And you know what? Go support a developer. Good, spend $12. It's like a latte. It's like 2 slices of pizza. It's It's a hamburger meal, $12. So go help them out if you want to. If you want to. If not, you get the free version and then don't get the freemium version. But that is, one of the things that I wanted to highlight today is the fact that the Osee is a very capable piece of hardware. This thing, I really like it. And you can see I've got this little hack going on here. The SDI, the HDMI, all 8 inputs, the ISO recording, the USB inputs, which this version, the Duet 8, is limited to 2. A problem they rectified on the 12, they've got like 5 or 6 USB inputs. Because realistically, if I want to record to a USB drive, and I'm bringing in my internet connection via a USB connection to a phone, now I don't have any USB cameras or USB audio mixer or USB. USB is such a functional port, there needs to be more, and this one's limited to 2, which they rectified on the Omni 12. There's more USB inputs, or USB connections, I should say. But just being able to do HDMI and SDI, plus on this one, you really get the ability to use everything, whereas the Duet 4, you have 4 SDI, 4 HDMI, and 1 network source. So you can have 1 NDI. This one, you can have 4 NDIs, you can have 4 SDIs, you can have 4 HDMIs. You can't have them all at once, and there's no shift toggle between them yet. But the ability is to have that flexibility. Is the Blackmagic going to do NDI? No. Is the Blackmagic going to give you HDMI and SDI in the little portable ATEM switchers? No. Is that Blackmagic going to give you an on-screen menu that you go in and tweak things? No. So I think, like I said at the start of the show, I think the Osee switchers really are the choice to get at this level of market. When you need bigger things, that's maybe what the Omni 12 is going to suffice. But they've got the 8 input mixer, they've got the 5 input mixer, and those really do have that incredible amount of flexibility. Now, with the ability to deliver, really cool, program effects in the switches themselves. Whoa! I think these things are, the Osee switchers are really the switchers to beat, and that's, obviously I'm not the only person saying that, but I feel that if you think the same, I think the software makes the Osee GoStreams even more capable now than they are when you just look at the buttons on the box. So I think that is, really the point of today's show. Osee is just getting more value add with the software capabilities, enabling more out of the hardware you already purchased, which is already really capable. So again, if you want to try out that software, you could do it right there. And remember, you got to type in StreamTek 12 if you want to get the discount. If you don't want to get the discount, don't type StreamTek 12. And if you want to try out Restream, you can go to bit.ly/st-restreams. That's a affiliate link for me. And again, there's a free plan you could sign up for. You can check out the studio, which is what I'm using to broadcast to Twitch and LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook, and bring in comments from all of those locations. Thank you all for people who have been commenting throughout the show. And as always, if you haven't already signed up and become a subscriber to the YouTube channel, please do. And if you find a video that you like over here, share it on your social media, because there's a lot of people who don't know about the StreamTek channel. I don't know how, but I've only been doing it for like 2.5 years. So there's a lot of people who have been out in the industry who have been doing streaming and other content for way longer. But the StreamTek channel is really holistically devoted to live, multi-camera, live switched streaming production, and the technologies and the tools. And there's nobody else doing this. So if you want to help me out, like, subscribe, and go out there and feel free to tell others about it as well. And with that, I'm going to say thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you and your comments throughout the show. My name is Anthony DeBrokas. I am the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek. Again, I will not be here next week. I'm off on vacation, and I will look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. And at that point, I believe the Talent 2 will be out and about, and we can actually show and walk through the Talent 2 in the next live show in August. So till then, thanks for watching.